Yes? What is it?
Oh, did I punch you? Oh, I'm sorry, Theodil. I did not mean to... I did not mean to punch you when I punched you earlier.
Yes?
That was intended for the guard, not for you. I have no intent of harming you. You're my favorite juggler in all of Oblivion history. Oh, jeez.
Good one.
I'm fucking this mini game up really bad.
I
All right,
see.
well, at least we're kind of friendly now.
Bye.
Sorry about that.
Speak, citizen.
Speak, citizen.
Speak, citizen.
Speak, citizen. All right, let's go find our spot to go read. She's not even open. Fuck it. She may be. I'm coming in for the after hours visit. You know. She can wake up, see me seductively sitting on the couch sitting on the snuggle bench. Oh my god, dude. I didn't even realize it was called the snuggle bench. Oh my god, she's gonna find me sitting on the snuggle bench when she wakes up. Oh, that's perfect. I really hope that if you sit on this during the day, she'll like come over and just like sit with you. That would be fucking hysterical. The snuggle bench, dude. I didn't even noticed what it was called. That's freaking awesome. All right. Oh, last time we read the father of the Niben. I suppose today we should probably read the daughter of the Niben, huh? Breville, daughter of the Niben, by Sathair Longlet. Breville is one of the most charming towns in Cyrodiil, sparkling in her simple beauty, illustrious by her past. No visit to the southern part of the imperial province is complete without a walk along Breville's exciting river port. Is it that exciting? I don't think it's that exciting. With her friendly native children, and, of course, in the tradition of the village, a whispered word to the famous statue of the lucky old lady. Oh, we can actually find out what the people think is the lucky old lady, not who the lucky old lady actually is. Well, maybe the statue itself isn't. Maybe the statue itself is actually the lucky old lady, and it's not the Night Mother. Nah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. I don't quite recall, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. But this is what the townsfolk think is the lucky old lady. Many thousands of years before the arrival of the Atmorans, the native Iliad people had long lived in the vicinity of modern-day Breville. The Niben then, as now, provided food and transportation, and the village was even more populous than it is today. We are not certain what they called their region, as insular as they were. The word they used would be translated to simply mean home. These savage Iliads were so firmly entrenched that the Breville region was one of the very last areas to be liberated by the Alessian army in the 2nd century of the First Era. Though little remains of that era culturally or archaeologically, thank Mara, the tales of debauchery and depravity have entered into the realm of legends. How the Iliads were able to survive such a long siege is debated by scholars to this day. All, however, grant the honor of the victory to one of the Empress Alessia's centurions, a man called Tio Brevilius Tassus, the man for whom the modern town is named. Brevilius, what a name. It was said he invaded the village no less than 4 times, after heavy resistance, but each time upon the morning dawning, all his soldiery within would be dead, murdered. By the time more Centuria had arrived, the fortified town was repopulated with Iliads. After the second... God, you gotta stop waiting 3 days. You gotta wipe it out all at once and take over. You can't wait 3 days, alright? After the second successful invasion, secret underground tunnels were found and filled in, but once again, come morning, the soldiers were again dead, and the citizens had returned. After the third successful siege, legions were posted outside of the town, watching the roads and riverway for signs of attacks, but no one came. The next morning, the bodies of the invading soldiers were thrown from the parapets of town's walls. Tio Brevilius Tassus knew that the aliens must be hiding themselves somewhere in the town, waiting until nightfall, and then murdering the soldiers while they slept. The question was where. After the fourth invasion, he himself led the soldiers in a thorough inspection of every corner, every shadow. Just as they were ready to give up, the great centurion noticed two curious things. High in the sheer walls of the town, beyond anyone's ability to climb, there were indentations, narrow platforms, and by the river just inside the town, he discovered a single footprint from someone clearly not wearing the imperial boot. The aliens, it seemed, had taken two routes to hide themselves. Some had levitated up to the walls and hidden themselves high above, and others had slipped into the river, where they were able to breathe underwater. It was a relatively easy task once the strange elves' even stranger hiding holes had been discovered to rout them out, and see to it that there were no more midnight assassinations of the Empress's troops. It may seem beyond belief that an entire community could be so skilled in these spells hundreds and hundreds of years before the Mages Guild was formed to teach the ways of magicka to the common folk. There does, however, appear to be evidence that, just as the Psijics of the Isle of Artaeum developed mysticism long before there was a name for it, the even more obscure aliens of southern Cyrodiil had developed what was to be known as the School of Alteration. It is not, after all, much of a stretch, when one considers that other aliens at the time of Breville's conquering, and even later, were shapeshifters. The community of pre-Breville could not turn into beasts and monsters, but they could alter their bodies to hide themselves away. A related and useful skill, to be sure, but not so effective to save themselves in the end. Very little is left of the alien presence of Breville of today, though architectural marvels of other kinds are very evident, as beautiful and arresting as the benevolence of Mara Cathedral and the Lord's Palace are. No man-made structure in Breville is as famous as the statue called the Lucky Old Lady. Here we go, finally getting to the important part. The tales about the lady and who she was are too numerous to list. It was said she was born the illegitimate daughter of a prostitute in Breville, certainly an inauspicious beginning to a lucky life. She was teased by the other children, who forever asked her who her father was. Every day, she would run back to her little shack in tears from their cruelty. One day, a priest of Stendar came to Breville to do charitable work. He saw the weeping little girl, and when asked, she told him the cause of her misery. She didn't know who her father was. 'Cause it's Sithis. "You have kind eyes and a mouth that tells no lies," replied the priest after a moment, smiling. "You are clearly a child of Stendar, the god of mercy, charity, and well-earned luck." The priest's thoughtful words changed the girl forever. Whenever she was asked who her father was, she would cheerfully reply, "I am a child of luck." She grew up to be a barmaid, it was said, kind and generous to her customers, frequently allowing them to pay when they were able to. On a particularly rainy night, she gave shelter to a young man dressed in rags, who not only had no money to pay, but was belligerent and rude to her as she fed him and gave him a room. The next morning, he left without so much as a thank you. Her friends and family admonished her, saying that she had to be careful. He might have even been dangerous. Probably just a secret meeting that they gave off the appeal of, you know. A week later, a royal carriage arrived in Breville with an imperial prince within. Though he was scarcely recognizable, it was the same young man the lady had helped. He apologized profusely for his appearance and behavior, explaining that he had been kidnapped and cursed by a band of witches, and it wasn't until later he had returned to his senses. Very odd. The lady was showered with riches, which she, of course, generously shared with all the people of Breville, where she lived to a content old age. No one knows when the statue to her was erected in the town square, or who the artist was, but it has stood there for thousands of years since the first era. To this day, visitors and Brevillians alike go to the lucky old lady to ask for her to bless them with luck in their travails. Just one more charming aspect of the charming and very lucky village of Breville. Little does everybody know that the daughter of the Niben is actually home to the Night Mother herself. Huh. Alright, let's try and read a couple more books here. I guess we'll just try and read some of these first books, huh? What if we do these two? Yeah, we'll do these two. Alright. Interviews with Tapestrists, Volume 18. Motherfucker, ain't no goddamn way there are other volumes to this book, to this fucking series. Ain't no goddamn way. Yeah, no, looked it up. Pretty sure this is the only one. But yeah. Right, it's not gonna say, like, book is continued. Huh? A self to... I don't know. If there is, I don't really care enough about tapestries. Hopefully I do. I don't. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll find out. Cherim's Heart of Anequina by Livilis Paris, professor at the Imperial University. Contemporary with Maquamat Lucene, interviewed in volume 17 of the series. I don't think this is actual series. I think it's just one book and just to have it, you know? I could be wrong, but fuck it. Is the Khajiit Cherim, whose tapestries have been hailed as masterpieces all over the Empire for nigh on 30 years now. His 4 factories located throughout elsewhere make reproductions of his work, but his original tapestries command stellar princes. The Emperor himself owns 10 Cherim tapestries, and his representatives are currently negotiating the sale of 5 more. The muted use of color contrasts with the luminous skin tones of Cherim's subjects is a marked contrast with the old style of tapestry. The subjects of his work in recent years have been fabulous tales of the ancient past, the gods meeting to discuss the formulation of the world, the Chimer following the prophet Veloth into Morrowind, the wild elves battling Morahaias in his legions at the White Gold Tower. His earliest designs dealt with more contemporary subjects. I had the opportunity to discuss with him one of his first masterpieces, the Heart of Anequia. Anequina. Yeah, something like that. At his villa in Orkrest. The Heart of Anequina presents an historic battle of the 5-year war between Elsewhere and Valenwood, which raged from 3rd Era 394 or 3rd Era 395, depending on what one considers to be the beginning of the war, until 3rd Era 399. In most fair accounts, the war lasted 4 years and 9 months, while artistic license from the great epic poets added an additional 3 months to the ordeal. The actual details of the battle itself, as interpreted by Cherim, are explicit. The faces of 120 wood elf archers can be differentiated one from the other, each registering fear at the approach of the Khajiit army. The hauberks catch the dim light of the sun, the menacing shadows of the Elsewhere battle cats loom on the hills, every muscle strained, ready to pounce in command. It is not surprising that he got all the details right, because Cherim was in the midst of it, as a Khajiit foot soldier. Every minute part of the Khajiit traditional armor can be seen in the soldiers in the foreground, the embroidered edging and striped patterns of the tunics, each lacquered plates on loose-fitting leather in the Elsewhere style, the helmets of cloth and fluted silver. Cherim does not understand the point of plate mail, said Cherim. It is hot, for one, but like being both burned and buried alive. Cherim worked at the insistence of our Nord advisors during the Battle of Zelinin, and Cherim couldn't even turn to see what my fellow Khajiit were doing. Cherim did some sketches for a tapestry of the Battle of Zelinin, but Cherim finds that to make it realistic, the figures came out very mechanical, like iron golems or Dwemer centurions. Knowing our Khajiit commanders, Cherim would not be surprised if giving up the heavy plate was more aesthetic than practical. Elsewhere lost the Battle of Zelinin, didn't she? Yes, but Elsewhere won the war, starting at the next battle, the Heart of Anequina, Anequina, said Cherim with a smile. The tide turned as soon as we Khajiits sent our Nordic advisors back to Solitude. We had to get rid of all the heavy armor they brought to us and find enough traditional armor our troops felt comfortable wearing. Obviously, the principal advantage of the traditional armor was that we could move easily in it, as you can see from the natural stances of the soldiers in the tapestry. Now, if you look at this poor perforated Cathay Rat, who just keeps battling on in the bottom background, you see the other advantage. It seems strange to say, but one of the best features of traditional armor is that an arrow will either deflect completely or pass all the way through. An arrowhead is like a hook, made to stick where it strikes if it doesn't pass through. A soldier in traditional armor will find himself with a hole in his body and the bolt on the other side. Our healers can fix such a wound easily if it isn't fatal, but if the arrow still remains in the armor, as it does with heavier armor, the wound will be reopened every time the fellow moves. Okay, yeah, sure. Unless the Khajiit strips off the armor and pulls out the arrow, which is what we had to do at the Battle of Zelinin. See, these are the kind of things that one, wouldn't really think about just playing a video game, because obviously that you can't incorporate stuff like that in a video game. Anyway, a difficult and time-consuming process in the heat of battle, to say the least. I asked him next, is there a self-portrait in the battle? Yes, Cherim said with another grin. You see the small figure of the Khajiit stealing the rings off the dead wood elf. His back is facing you, but he has a brown and orange striped tail like Cherim's. Cherim does not say that all stereotypes about the Khajiit are fair, but Cherim must sometimes acknowledge them. A self-deprecating style in self-portraiture is also evident in the tapestries of Ranulph Hook, the next artist interviewed in Volume 19 of this series. Q. In our next book, Chimarvimidium. 12 pages, okay. I'm going to say it Chimer. I feel like it's probably Chimer, as it was probably Cherim in that last one. Chimarvimidium. Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 6. Why are these all parts? God damn it. Gotta look it up every fucking time. Alright, well, this one is actually part of a series, but I think we've actually already read parts of the series. I'm pretty sure, right? The Ransom of Zarek. I don't think we've read this one. We haven't. That's the first part, right? And then you got the Seed, PQRS. We have not read the Seed. All right, yeah, maybe. This next one, I feel like we definitely have. The Importance of Where. Oh, I guess we haven't read that one. Okay. Apparently I lie. On the utility of marbles and needles. What the fuck is this? Well, I think we already read part 4 on the utility of marbles and needles. Is this actually a thing? Okay. That's a lie. Part 4 on the utility of marbles and needles is only in Elder Scrolls Online, so that doesn't actually apply. Alright. Weird. Because then part 5 is the Song of the Alchemists. Which we have just Song of Hormir. Probably should have sold that. Okay, odd. And then the last part... the very last part is the book that we are trying to read right now. So I guess Virgil's not going to do that. Alright. Durenus, 21 pages. And nope. Deathblow... we could, but I kind of don't want to. Come on, give me something. Give me something. Yeah, I suppose we can do this. Liminal Bridges. Liminal Bridges, a discourse on the theory and praxis of traveling between Mundus and Oblivion, by Camillonway of Alinor. Transliminal passage of quickened objects or entities without the persistent agency of hyperagonal media, oh my god, is not possible, and even if possible, would result in instantaneous retromission of the transported reference. Only a transpontine circumpentration of the limen will result in transits of greater than infinitesimal duration. Though other hyperagonal media may exist in theory, the only known transliminal artifact capable of sustained transpontine circumpenetration is the sigil stone. A sigil stone is a specimen of pre-mythic quasi-crystalline morpholith that has been transformed into an extra-dimensional artifact through the arcane inscription of a Daedric sigil. Though some common morpholiths, like soul gems, may be found in nature, the exotic morpholiths used to make sigil stones occur only in pocket voids of Oblivion, and cannot be prospected or harvested without Daedric assistance. Therefore, since both the morpholiths and the Daedric sigils required for hyperagonal media cannot be obtained without traffic in commerce with Daedra lords, it is necessary that a transliminal mechanic cultivate a working knowledge of conjuration, though purpose-built enchantments may be substituted if the mechanic has sufficient invocatory skill. Traffic in commerce with Daedra lords is an esoteric but well-established practice, and lies outside the compass of this treatise. Jeez Louise, this is a fucking read right here. Presuming a sigil stone has been acquired, the transliminal mechanic must first prepare the morpholith to receive the Daedric sigil. Let the mechanic prepare a chamber, sealed against all daylight and disturbances of the outer air, roofed and walled with white stone and floored with black tiles. We're fucking summoning Daedra now? Yeah, okay. All surfaces of this chamber must be ritually purified with a solution of void salt and an ether solvent. A four-square table shall be placed in the center of the room with a dish to receive the morpholith. 4 censers shall be prepared with incense compounded from Gorvix and Harada. On the equinox, the mechanic shall then place the morpholith in the dish and intone the rites of the Book of Law, beginning at dawn and continuing without cease until the sunset of the same day. The mechanic may then present the purified morpholith to the Daedra Lord for his inscription. Once inscribed with the Daedra Lord's sigil, the morpholith becomes a true sigil stone, a powerful artifact that collects and stores arcane power. Similar in many respects to a charged soul gem, but of a much greater magnitude. And it is this sigil stone that is required to provide the tremendous arcane power necessary to sustain the enchantment that supports the transpontine circumpenetration of the limen. To open a gate to Oblivion. Oh, is this how these people do this? To open a gate to Oblivion, the mechanic must communicate directly by spell or enchantment with the Daedra Lord who inscribed the sigil stone in question. The Daedra Lord and the mechanic jointly invoke the conjurational charter, and the mechanic activates the charged sigil stone, which is immediately transported through the liminal barrier to the spot where its sigil was inscribed, thus opening a temporary portal between Mundus and Oblivion. This portal may only remain open for a brief period of time, depending on the strength of the liminal barrier at the chosen spots, several minutes before the longest ever reported, so the usefulness of such a gate is quite limited. From Note 1. Interested students are invited to consult the works of Albrecht Leo Phanes, Bombidius, and Galerion the Mystic for the fundamentals of this discipline. And the second note. Recommended examples of the conjurational charter may be found in Therion's book, of most arcane covenants, or Ralabala's elven ritual forms. Okay, that was indeed a book. We did indeed read a book there. That is true. And yeah, with that, that's another 3 books off the list. We are just ever so slowly, making our way along. We're making our way along. I think we got another like 70 something odd books, plus the books added by this DLC. So I love that I'm trespassing right now. That's pretty funny. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to take a long ass time, but we are slowly but surely getting there. When next we return, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing another quest. Yeah, I'm not too sure what quest we're going to do. We only have, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active quests right now. And one of them is the Museum of Oddities, which is just kind of going on in the background at all times. And then another one is the Antipodian Hammer, which there's actually no end to it. There's just, I might just console command and remove that one. Just because I like to keep a very clean inventory over here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this one takes place. I think we've helped pretty much everyone. Yeah, we've pretty much helped everybody that is in New Sheoth with their stupid little quests. Yeah, the rest are obviously we got to go back to Vytharn. We got to do the quest at Felmore, and then we got to help out the lady with like the calming pants and all that shit from the coming storm. But yeah, we've actually made a shit ton of progress in this game, in the DLC, without even really touching the main storyline, which is definitely a weird feeling. But yeah, with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And goodbye. Juggle, 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 juggle.
Yes?
No! Juggle! Stop walking, juggle! No, she's not gonna juggle. Damn it. Alright, well, goodbye.
Cause I don't wanna see the glow without you. Refuse to even leave my home without you. Or my brain's gonna explode without you. I don't even know how to cope without you. Cause I don't wanna see the glow without you. Refuse to even leave my home without you. Or my brain's gonna explode without you. I don't even know how to cope without you.